Wesley Crusher, Will Wheaton, has been to the alternate reality of J.J. Abrams' Star Trek movies, and Star Trek Prodigy Season 2 reveals Wesley even gave Star Trek's Kelvin timeline a new name. Written by Jennifer Morrow and directed by Sung Shin, Star Trek Prodigy Season 2, Episode 9, The Devourer of All Things, Part I, introduces Wesley Crusher and his cosmic abilities as the Traveler. Wesley mentors the heroic young crew of the USS Protostar as part of his expansive plan to save every Star Trek timeline from the reality-eating threat of the Loom. In Star Trek Prodigy Season 2, Episode 9, The Devourer of All Things, Part I, Dal-Rel, Brett Gray, Gwendala, Ella Purnell, Zero, Angus Emery, Murph, D. Bradley Baker, Jankum Paul, Jason Mantzoukas, and Majel, Michaela Dietz expect to find the USS Protostar in a hidden world. But inside an ancient ziggurat, the Starfleet hopefuls instead find Wesley Crusher. Manic, scatterbrained, and talking a mile a minute, Wesley gives the kids a quick info download about who he is, what the Travelers are, and the concept of Star Trek's multiverse, which is under an existential threat from the Loom. Wesley reveals the existence of Star Trek's myriad alternate timelines, but what the Traveler says about J.J. Abrams' Kelvin timeline is shocking. Star Trek Prodigy's young Starfleet Academy hopefuls initially didn't know who Wesley Crusher was, nor had they heard of the Travelers, but Wesley gave the kids a helpful rundown. Wesley explained his mission of protecting every Star Trek timeline from the Loom. As a traveler, Wesley has jumped across time, space, and realities, and he not only revealed that he has visited J.J. Abrams' Star Trek Kelvin timeline, but Crusher calls it by a different name. Wesley tells Star Trek Prodigy's heroes, J.J. Abrams' alternate reality was dubbed the Kelvin timeline because in Star Trek 2009, the Romulan villain Nero, Eric Bana, and his starship, the Narada, time-traveled from 2387 in Star Trek's Prime universe to 2233. The Narada's destruction of the USS Kelvin and the death of acting Captain L.T. George Kirk, Chris Hemsworth, the father of James T. Kirk, Chris Pine, created an entirely new alternate reality. J.J. Abrams' Bad Robot production team internally referred to the new Star Trek movie universe they created as the Kelvin timeline. But of course, no one in universe in Star Trek would call it that. Thanks to Wesley and Star Trek Prodigy, viewers now know that the Travelers call Nero's time travel the Narada incursion. In Star Trek Prodigy's late 24th century time frame, Starfleet is aware of alternate realities like the mirror universe, but travel to and from different timelines is still relatively uncommon and usually happens by accident. This changed during Star Trek's temporal wars when the different realities were breached and warring factions weaponized time. Wesley Crusher referenced the temporal wars in Star Trek Prodigy Season 2, indicating that the Travelers also engaged in the conflict, which did cross over into J.J. Abrams' Star Trek Kelvin timeline. Obviously, the Travelers were aware of the Narada incident, and Wesley Crusher says he visited J.J. Abrams' Star Trek movie's alternate reality. In Star Trek Discovery's 32nd Century, Dr. Kovich, David Cronenberg, revealed that Yor, a time soldier from the 24th century, crossed over from the Kelvin timeline and died in Star Trek's Prime timeline. It's unclear when Star Trek's Prime universe Starfleet becomes fully aware of the Kelvin timeline's existence, but perhaps it's because Wesley Crusher told the young Protostar crew about the Narada incident in Star Trek Prodigy Season 2.